Aye, shepherd's pie. Greetings from the Philippines. Welcome back to the channel on a very wet and rainy day for a coffee and a chat. Now, ever since I started this channel, one of the questions I have been asked the most, not the most, the question I have been asked the most, I will talk about in an up and coming video in the not too distant future. But a very close second to that question is, when is the best time to visit the Philippines? And I'm never sure what they mean. The best time in terms of cheap flights, the best times in terms of weather. It's an open. There are a number of reasons that you might want to visit the Philippines that are personal to you. It depends on where you want to go, what you want to do. So my answer has always been the same. I'm sorry, I can't really help you with that. I am not an expert on the Philippines. I haven't travelled extensively around the Philippines. I only really know Dumaguete and Siquijor. Hopefully there will be someone else that can advise you better in the comments, but maybe you would be better off having a Google, seeing what Mr. Google says. And for some reason last night, because I'd been asked a question again recently, I thought I will take my own advice. I will Google and see. And to my shock and horror, it was December. They recommended December to March as the best times to visit the Philippines. And that got me thinking straight away, why did I not think of this sooner? Because I'm going to flip it round. Because what I do know, in my opinion, based on my experiences, when is the worst time to visit the Philippines? And it never occurred on me to make a video about this before, because the worst time, in my experience, is December. It is Christmas and the New Year, by far. And it's only when I Googled it last night and they were recommending you came here at Christmas that I thought, damn, I should have spoken to this before. I do apologise. I've got a friend who's sending me repeated voicemail messages. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so why do I say that Christmas and the New Year? And I'm going to tell you now, I am not trying to put people off to come into the Philippines. I am not trying to damage the tourist industry over here. I think the Philippines is a great place to come. I've been living here 2 years now. I love it here. So no, I'm not trying to talk anyone out of coming. But on reflection, if I was giving advice to anyone, which is what I'm going to do now, don't come here for Christmas and the New Year. There are far better places to go, in my opinion, for Christmas and the New Year. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to you if you're thinking of moving over here. And I totally get if you've got a family or a girlfriend who has invited you over here for Christmas, then that's a different ballgame. You might want to come, you might want to meet the family, you might want to do the local Filipino things. However, if you're not in that situation, if you're coming here and you are planning to travel and experience the Philippines for a short period of time, a couple of weeks, my advice would be, do not come for Christmas and the New Year. Now, why do I say that? I say it based on my experiences. When I first came to the Philippines, which was in September, I spent Christmas and New Year in Siquijor. And I was very, very disappointed. Surprised and disappointed. Now, I know some people are going to say in the channel, what do you expect? It's a Christian country, etc., blah, 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 blah. Well, what I expected in a Christian country, in a place like San Juan in Siquijor, which is an island which is the primary economy by a long way is tourism. I mean, that's what basically powers the island financially. And you have a very high percentage of tourists there over Christmas and the New Year. I thought they might cater for the tourists who had come to or spending Siquijor over Christmas. I thought there might be a hotel, a resort, a bar or a restaurant that was, laying on a Christmas dinner, celebrating the festive period. I thought maybe New Year, there might be a party atmosphere on the island. There might be, celebration, good spirits, all those good things. And the reality was there wasn't. There wasn't a single place on the whole island when we were there that you could get a Christmas dinner. Nowhere, not a bar, not a restaurant, nothing that I could find was doing anything festive for Christmas, which surprised me because it is a Christian country. Now, if you go to Thailand, you go to Bangkok, you go to Pattaya, somewhere like that, it's a Buddhist country. There will be lots of places doing Christmas dinners and, celebrating a new year, all those good things in a Buddhist country because they are catering for the tourists. Not in Siquijor. There was nothing. There really was. And what I found most amazing was up until a day before, there was no indication of what would be open and what would be closed. Because when I realised that nowhere was doing anything Christmassy, I thought it made me remember, I had watched some vlogs in the past warning that lots of places close over Christmas. The Holy Week, I know that's Easter, whole towns can close down. Well, that's what they said. And that started to worry me. I thought, well, is everywhere going to be closed? And I went to a few of the bars and the restaurants that I acquainted regularly when I was over there. And I asked them, are you going to be open on Christmas? What's happening over Christmas? And the reality is no one could give you an answer. They just couldn't. And not until the night before, I wasn't sure what was going to be open and what wasn't, because they hadn't decided yet. I think it came down to the enhanced pay they would have to pay for staff and things like that. In the end, places were open. And in the end, I'm pleased to say, we had a good Christmas. But that was a group of us, expats that were living there and some tourists, got together and we decided, damn it, we will enjoy ourselves regardless. And we did. And we had 3 or 4 days where we enjoyed it. And there were quite a few tourists who were in the same boat, backpackers and things like that. And they made the most of it. I think they partied on the beach. We had a good time. But it was in spite of what San Juan or the Siquijor had laid on in terms of hospitality. Because the reality is, Christmas is a big thing to the Filipinos. They spend their times with their families. They go home. If it hadn't been for us tourists making the most of it, it would have been a ghost town. It really would have done. Now, I thought maybe that was just Siquijor. But it kind of scarred me, that experience. Might sound like even over dramatic, but I thought as soon as I got to Dumaguete and I realised I was living here longer term, I thought I will find out what happens at Christmas here. And I asked around, and much to my chagrin, it turned out nothing happens in Dumaguete either. Everywhere basically closes. There is nothing, or very little, which is laid on in terms of, Christmas celebrations. Most of the places close and the Filipinos go back to their families and spend time with their families. Nothing wrong with that. Power to them if that's what they want to do. But I would suggest, if you're coming here on holiday, going to a ghost town where everywhere is shut is not what you would want to do. Well, maybe you do. Maybe that floats your boat. If it does, come to the Philippines at Christmas. But seriously, large majority of the people I socialised with, they were leaving town. They were going away. A lot of them were going to Thailand for Christmas. We'd kind of missed the boat on that one, but I sat down, I had a chat with Ellen and thought, look, I have heard that Dumaguete, nothing's going to be happening over Christmas. Why don't we go somewhere else? So we went to Cebu. Wasn't sure what to expect when we got there, but the thought process was, it is a much bigger city than Dumaguete. Surely there will be something happening there. And we went to Christmas for a few days. I thought New Year will be okay in Dumaguete. So we'll go to Christmas, to Cebu for Christmas. And then we will come back to Dumaguete for the New Year and celebrate the New Year here. Ellen was going to go back to her family for New Year, and that's what she did. So we went to Cebu, and I tried to do a bit of research. I couldn't find Christmas dinners or anything like that. Wasn't too bothered, not really a Christmas dinner kind of chap, but I found a few good restaurants which we contacted, and it looked like they were going to be open on Christmas or the 24th, which is when they celebrate Christmas over here. So we bit the bullet and we flew over there. And it was another disappointment. Christmas was strange because on the 24th, the day before we celebrate Christmas in the UK and America and a lot of other countries do, that was their Christmas day. And when we went out in the morning, everywhere was open. We had lined up a couple of possible destinations for the evening. Plan was to go out about 7:30, 8 o'clock, have a nice meal out, celebrate Christmas. Lo and behold, by the time we went out that evening, everywhere was closing. The restaurants that we had been assured would be open until 10 o'clock, we got there 7:30. Surprise, surprise, they were closing at 8 o'clock. And basically the whole place closed down. In the end, thought we won't let it get to us. We'll go to Burger King for a Christmas meal because I hadn't had a Burger King in ages. There isn't a Burger King in Dumaguete. Ellen likes Burger King. Got to Burger King, that had closed as well. Not exaggerating, we had our Christmas evening meal in McDonald's. Yeah, that's what we had. And it wasn't a very happy meal. But there you go. That was our experience of Christmas in Cebu. You couple that with the Christmas experience in Dumaguete, in Siquijor, that was enough to make us realise that next Christmas we were getting out of town, which is why we are going to Vietnam for Christmas, to Ho Chi Minh City. And that is why a number of friends are coming with us. And that is why some of the friends who aren't coming with us are going to Thailand, because it ain't great here at Christmas, folks. It's really not. And New Year, based on my limited experience, is no better either. And New Year was okay in Siquijor. A lot of the backpackers and a lot of the expats got together. But by 12 o'clock, 12:30, the party was outside a convenience store on the bridge because everywhere else was shut. But this convenience store stayed open. A lot of the backpackers were dancing in the street. It was actually a fun night. But it was not, in terms of things to do, it was quieter in terms of venues than a normal night. When we got back this year, Ellen went to New Year, went to visit her family, which was great. I went out with some expat friends of mine, and we'd seen. I'm not gonna name the bars because I don't want to do them down because they tried their best. But there was one place that was advertising. It was a New Year party, and it was dire. It was no different to any other night in Dumaguete. There was a live band. It was nothing festive about it. And we ended up, as a lot of expats did, celebrating in the Native Bar, which is a popular bar in Bacong, where we eat quite often. And it was okay, but it was no different to another night. And I left in the end before midnight. And midnight itself, God, you take your life in your hands. There were just lots of Filipinos drag racing down the road and letting off bangers. That was the extent of the New Year over there. So we're not making that same mistake again. And there are other reasons why I would advise you not to come here at Christmas and the New Year. Your flights are going to be more expensive. You're going to get a hell of a lot of Filipinos who work overseas who are coming back to spend the festivities with their families. So the flights are going to be quite heavily booked. And I have no experience with this myself, but I did a bit of research. The ferries everywhere has the potential to be booked, long delays, queues, because you've got a lot of Filipinos, God bless them, who have travelled back to the country or are working in other parts of the country, and they want to get back with their loved ones. So, yeah, Christmas and the New Year are not great in Dumaguete. I have had far better times in Thailand and Cambodia over that same period of time. As I say, surprising because they're Muslim, Buddhist countries. They may not be Christians and celebrate Christmas, but they still kind of celebrate it in their own way. And particularly in the tourist areas, there will be things to do at Christmas. Dumaguete, not so much, and I suspect that will be the same in a lot of the smaller towns around the Philippines. You'd think it would be different in the tourist areas, but based on my experiences in Siquijor, uh, it's not going to be great. Now there will no doubt be some people in the comments, some expats who disagree with me and say this place is great, that place is great. Well, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. I never profess to be the font of all knowledge when it comes to all things Philippines. But you've got to ask yourself, why is it that nearly everyone I know then, apart from the guys who are married to Filipinos and have got kids over here, etc., are all getting out of town? I don't know any expats or friends I've got in Filipinos who are going over to Bohol or are going to Palawan or are going to Manila or are going to Cebu. They're all leaving the country. So draw your own conclusions. I know I've drawn my conclusions, and they are based on my experiences and the people I have spoken to about it who've been here a long period of time. The Philippines, for a tourist, is not great for Christmas and the New Year. They do not celebrate it in a communal way, the way they seem to in most other Southeast Asian countries. Now, and as I say, some people are going to say, well, what do you expect? It's a Christian country, etc., etc. Well, England is a Christian country, but you're still generally, you know, the pubs and the clubs and that are very busy usually on Christmas Eve, you know, and increasingly over the last few years in the UK, you know, more things are actually open on Christmas days. You'll get lots of pubs and hotels that do a Christmas dinner and all those kind of things. Even though it's a time for families, lots of families go out and celebrate in hotels and pubs on Christmas Day, have a nice slap up Christmas dinner there. You're going to be very hard pressed to find that in the Philippines, I believe. But anyway, there you go. I'm not going to labour the point. Not going to be a long video, this one. You know, some people will disagree. Up to them. I'm not trying to put you off coming to the Philippines. I still can't advise you when the best time to come is. But if you're going to ask my opinion on when the worst time to come is, it is the 12 days of Christmas. It is Christmas and the New Year. Feel a bit bad I didn't make this video sooner because not much use to you if you've already booked your flights. Don't be too depressed. I'm sure you can make the most of it like we did in Siquijor. You know, we enjoyed Cebu too. You know, it is what it is. You know, we should have planned that more ahead, I suppose. But as I say to you, I did contact a couple of places in advance of going there. And the day we arrived, we walked round and we asked a few people, are you going to be open? Are you going to be doing dinners on Christmas days? These weren't Christmas places. They were just nice looking restaurants. And they all assured us they were. And lo and behold, they weren't. Come 7 o'clock, they were all closing and going home. But there you go. That is the Philippines. As they say, it is more fun in the Philippines. I've said my piece. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, it would be fantastic if you did. But whether you do, whether you don't, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe and be lucky.